Every 4 years, Adidas builds a ball that costs more to develop than some soccer teams' entire budgets. And almost nobody talks about it. We talk about the players. We talk about the coaches. We talk about VAR ruining everyone's Tuesday. But the actual ball? The thing every single moment of the World Cup depends on? Ignored. Here's the thing. That ball isn't just a ball. It's a piece of engineering that can change how the entire tournament plays out. Goalkeepers have publicly complained about it. Strikers have credited it for wonder goals. One version was so unpredictable that pros called it supernatural. So how does Adidas actually design this thing? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why a round object made of panels and glue has sparked actual controversy at the highest level of sports. Let's get into it. Section 1. It starts 2 years early. You'd think Adidas just tweaks last tournament's ball a little and ships it out. No, the process starts almost 2 years before kickoff. 2 years for a ball. In theory, that sounds excessive. In practice, you're designing something that will be kicked at 70 miles per hour, in rain, in desert heat, at high altitude, and it still has to behave the exact same way every time. That's not easy. That's borderline impossible. So designers start with a theme first. Every World Cup ball tells a story about the host country. The colors, the patterns, even the name usually connect to local culture. This sounds like a marketing gimmick. It kind of is. But it's also the fun part before the science gets brutal. Section 2. The panel problem. Here's where it gets interesting. Old school soccer balls had 32 panels. You know the black and white hexagon pattern everyone draws when they doodle a soccer ball? That's the classic design. Simple, reliable, boring, according to Adidas. Fewer panels means fewer seams. Fewer seams means smoother flight. So Adidas started shrinking the panel count. Some World Cup balls have had as few as 6 or 8 panels. This sounds simple. It isn't. Fewer seams can actually make the ball less predictable in the air, not more. Which brings us to the controversy everyone remembers. Section 3. The Jabulani disaster. 2010, South Africa. Adidas releases the Jabulani. 8 panels, thermally bonded, marketed as the roundest, most accurate ball ever made. Goalkeepers hated it. Professional keepers said the ball moved unpredictably in the air, like it had a mind of its own. Strikers loved it because random movement made shots harder to read. Keepers were furious because random movement made shots harder to stop. See the problem? Turns out, when you make a ball too smooth, air flows around it too cleanly, and that actually creates unpredictable knuckling, kind of like a fastball in baseball that just refuses to fly straight. Adidas learned an expensive lesson. Perfectly smooth isn't perfectly good. Section 4. Enter the grooves. After Jabulani, Adidas changed strategy completely. Instead of chasing pure smoothness, they started adding textured grooves and seams on purpose. Tiny raised patterns across the surface. Why would you intentionally rough up a high-tech ball? Because air needs something to grip onto. Those grooves control airflow so the ball behaves consistently, kick after kick after kick. It's the same reason golf balls have dimples instead of being perfectly smooth. A totally smooth surface actually flies worse. This is one of those details that sounds backwards until you hear the explanation, and then it makes total sense. Section 5. Wind tunnels and robot legs. You didn't think they just kicked it around a parking lot, did you? Every Adidas World Cup ball goes through wind tunnel testing. Real wind tunnels, the kind used for airplanes and race cars. Engineers study exactly how air moves across the panels at different speeds and angles. Then there's the robot leg. Yes, an actual robotic leg that kicks the ball thousands of times at controlled speeds and angles, measuring flight path down to the millimeter. Humans get tired. Humans get inconsistent. Robots don't care. Robots just kick. This is the unglamorous part nobody sees on TV, but it's the reason the ball performs the same way in Qatar's heat as it does in Russia's cold. Section 6. Materials matter more than you'd think. The outer layer isn't leather anymore. It's usually a polyurethane skin, engineered for water resistance and consistent bounce. Why does that matter? Old leather balls used to soak up rain like a sponge, getting heavier as the match went on. Imagine your header duel in the 80th minute against a ball that now weighs twice what it did at kickoff. Brutal. Modern balls barely change weight in the rain. That's not an accident. That's chemistry doing quiet, unglamorous work behind the scenes. Section 7. The final testing gauntlet. Before any ball touches a World Cup pitch, it has to pass FIFA's official approval process. Weight, circumference, bounce height, roundness, water absorption. All measured. All standardized. Adidas also sends prototypes to actual professional players for feedback months in advance. Because here's the truth. You can have the most scientifically perfect ball in a lab, and if strikers say it feels wrong off the foot, that feedback matters just as much as the data. That's a strange mix. Hard science and gut feeling, working together to approve one single object. Ending. So next time you watch a World Cup goal fly into the top corner, remember, That ball spent 2 years in development, survived wind tunnels, robot legs, and a redesign forced by furious goalkeepers just to behave predictably for 90 minutes. The simplest object on the pitch might honestly be the most engineered. So here's the real question. As balls keep getting smarter, smart sensors, connected data, tracking chips inside them, how long until the ball itself becomes a bigger story than the players kicking it? If this blew your mind a little, hit subscribe. We break down the hidden engineering behind sports stuff like this every week.